What's up, everyone? This is Jalen Phillips of the Miami Dolphins, and you're watching South Beach Sports. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications to never miss a video. Click the links down below to stay connected on our other platforms. Fins up, baby.
What's going on, everyone? This is Luke from South Beach Sports, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to discuss if Brian Flores is on the hot seat or not. Like always, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that post notification bell so you do not miss a single video. Also, go ahead and comment down below your thoughts on Brian Flores and if you think he deserves to be on the hot seat. After a very unexpected and underwhelming 1-4 start to the season for the Miami Dolphins, a lot of people are questioning if Brian Flores is the right guy to lead the Dolphins into the future. And a lot of this criticism that he's facing is warranted. He's made some questionable decisions, not only this season, but in his two prior seasons as well. A lot of these questionable decisions that he's made have simply been shoved under the rug because he's really outperformed expectations in 2019 and in 2020. In 2019, he led the Dolphins to a not good, but respectable 5-11 record despite having, without a doubt, the least talented roster in the NFL and perhaps the least talented roster in NFL history. And in 2020, he led a team to a 10-6 record when many people predicted them to win only 6 to 8 games. So he's outperformed expectations in his two prior seasons, but that really doesn't mean that he hasn't made his fair share of bad decisions so far. For example, the decision to let go of Chad O'Shea in 2019 and the decision to hire Chan Gailey in 2020 to replace O'Shea as the offensive coordinator, in my opinion, was a very poor move. I actually liked O'Shea's offense a lot. The Dolphins finished in the top 5 in the bottom 5, of most offensive ranks, but that had to do more with a lack of talent than a lack of quality coaching. I thought O'Shea's playbook was very creative and it put his players in the best possible position to succeed, but Flores let him go mostly because he thought that O'Shea's playbook was too complex, and instead he brought in Chan Gailey, who at the time was retired. And while the Dolphins offense was better than the 2019 Dolphins offense from a statistical standpoint, a lot of people thought that Gailey's offense was way too vanilla and not creative enough. And then you have to review some of his more recent hires, especially on the offensive side of the football. The decision to hire a first-time head offensive line coach instead of a proven veteran was very questionable considering how inexperienced and how young the Dolphins personnel is on their offensive line. And you also have to look at his, again, questionable decision for an offensive coordinator choice in opting to stay in-house and hire co-offensive coordinators instead of hiring one of the more experienced and more accomplished offensive coordinator options that were out there, such as Pep Hamilton, who is now the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Houston Texans, or Tony Elliott, who is the offensive coordinator at Clemson. Like, there were some solid options out there, some options that I think would have provided the Dolphins offense with a little bit more creativity than what they have now. But Brian Flores opted to stay in-house for his offensive coordinator hire for this season. This decision to stay in-house with the hirings of Eric Studesville and George Godsey has not paid off thus far this season, as statistically the Dolphins have the 31st ranked offense in the NFL. That could change, but at least right now, through 5 games, this offensive coordinator decision looks very questionable. And it's really just reinforces the opinion that Brian Flores really doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to building a quality offensive staff. On the defense side of the football, Flores has done an excellent job at building a very good staff. The decision to elevate current defensive coordinator Josh Boyer from cornerbacks coach to defensive coordinator in 2020 was excellent, as despite the defensive struggles so far this season, Boyer has shown that he's a quality defensive play caller. But there are some major issues when it comes to Flores' decisions from a staff standpoint on the offensive side of the football. Another criticism that a lot of people have regarding Brian Flores, including myself, is that Brian Flores has mismanaged the career of Tua Tagovailoa thus far, and I agree with this completely. This criticism was very apparent, especially last season when Flores pulled Tua Tagovailoa in the Raiders and Broncos games and just completely disregard the results of those games. It's a bad decision. It is a horrible decision to pull your young quarterback in close games when he's struggling. The purpose of starting a rookie quarterback is to let him mature and work through these mistakes. Every rookie quarterback makes mistakes or commits mistakes, including Justin Herbert, who had arguably the best rookie season for a quarterback ever. He had his fair share of mistakes against the the Patriots and the Dolphins. He struggled, but Anthony Lynn, the head coach at the time for the Chargers, did not pull him, and Brian Flores should have done the same thing. Now that I talked about a lot of the criticisms of Brian Flores so far through his tenure in Miami, let's talk about some of the positives, and there have been a lot of positives. I mean, Brian Flores wouldn't have been a Coach of the Year candidate in 2020 if he hasn't done anything right. Let's go back to 2019. He led the Dolphins to a 5-11 record with probably the least talented football team ever put together. I mean, that team was literally tanking on purpose, and that roster was so talent lacking that you had ESPN analysts literally going out on air and calling the NFL to investigate the Dolphins for putting players in risk. Like, that's how bad the Dolphins roster was put together, and Brian Flores was still able to muster 5 wins. In Brian Flores' second season, the Dolphins outperformed expectations yet again by winning 10 games, and it was very unusual how the Dolphins won 10 games and failed to reach the playoffs. The AFC last year was unusually elite, but the Dolphins were definitely a playoff quality team nonetheless. In 2021, however, Brian Flores' stock has fallen immensely. There are a lot of people calling for Flores to be fired after the Dolphins' 1-4 start to the season, and I honestly get where they're coming from. I mean, the Dolphins had, coming into the season, the highest expectations they've had since, I would say, the Dan Marino days. I mean, you have an elite defense, a second-year promising quarterback, a boatload of new and explosive weapons, and you muster out a disappointing 1-4 start to the season. This is bad for Flores, and he needs to pick it up. He needs to find a way to right the ship and at least have the Dolphins in playoff contention by the end of the season. To answer the main and overlapping question of this video, and that's if Brian Flores is on the hot seat or not, I would have to say no, but with Stephen Ross, don't rule anything out. That's what I would advise you guys to learn from this video. Do not rule anything out. Ross is 81. He's getting up there in age. He's shelled out a lot of money for the Dolphins to improve, and it would not surprise me for Ross to make a harsh decision at the end of the season if the Dolphins continue to just underperform. And that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I just want to talk about Brian Flores, and I hope you guys comment your thoughts down below because I would love to have some dialogue with you guys. With that being said, like I always say, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that post notification bell, and I will catch you later. Peace.